Hello folks, this is Nick Roth, your friendly data coordinator for the family planning program at the CDPHE. This first video is an introduction to iCare. It's the family planning data system that we all use to collect family planning data to submit to the CDPHE. In this introductory video we're going to cover three areas. The first of which is going to be system requirements, which you'll see are pretty basic, pretty simple. And the two other segments we're going to cover are probably the most serious items we're going to cover in the entire training series. We're going to talk about the purpose and authority for data collection, as well as data security. So let's jump into those system requirements first. And the system requirements for iCare aren't exactly very stringent. It's an application that's web-based, so it can be used by anybody that has access to the web, as well as you've gone through your data security training with the CDPHE, of course. The iCare data system runs on Internet Explorer 8 and higher. It also runs on Google Chrome. It also runs on Mozilla Firefox. Again, the data system is web-based, so you can access it from any computer with internet capability, and it is recommended that you use an IBM-compatible web browser. If you are not using an IBM-compatible web browser, let me know, and we can work with you on how to get you up and running with iCare. So that's it for the system requirements. Now we're going to move on to the purpose and authority for data collection in iCare. Now, the purpose and authority for data collection in iCare has kind of a multifaceted set to it, and we'll dig in here. The family planning delegate agencies are required to submit data to the CDPHE for the Family Planning Annual Report, also known as FPAR, and also reports to the CFPI funders. Data that is collected in the Family Planning Data System is used to guide strategic and financial planning and to monitor, assess, and evaluate the progress of the family planning program. iCare stands for Integrity, Community, Accountability, Respect, and Excellence. And what we ask is that our delegate agencies follow these guidelines as far as items that we would like to uphold, as far as integrity, community, accountability, respect, and excellence. And we at the CDPHE plan to do the exact same. Family planning staff from delegate agencies are to use iCare to enter data for every family planning visit. Data on all qualifying family planning clients is important, as regional, state, and private funding are based on the total number of qualified family planning clients served. So it's very important that you enter all of your qualifying family planning clients. To facilitate the collection and reporting of the data, the CDPHE Family Planning Program utilizes the Integrated Data System, which is a fancy name for the initial website you log into, in order to access iCare, the Family Planning Data System. And this is used for all data collection and reporting of family planning data in the state of Colorado. Title X delegate agencies enter data directly into iCare. Agencies may alternately submit data via a third-party data extract. On this subject, there is a separate training. The data is collected quarterly. The due dates for data submissions are October 15th for all July, August, and September data, January 10th for all October, November, and December data, April 15th for all January through March data, and July 15th for the April through June data set. Now you'll note that the January 10th date is different in this lineup, and that's because FPAR happens right at the end of January. That's when the Family Planning Program reports out to the federal government about all of the data collected for that calendar year in the state of Colorado. So that due date is actually 10 days into the month, because in that month we collect and clean and make sure that we are submitting a data set to the feds that is accurate. So January 10th is a little further up deadline, and that allows us to make sure that we have collected data throughout the year. Also of note, in July and then also in February, we do a data lockdown, meaning all of the data you've entered from January through June of that year will be locked down at the end of July. All data collected from July through December of the calendar year will be locked down at the end of January or early in February. So just be heads up there. And just some information on some of the legal background on why we collect the data we do and the way in which we collect it. The federal statutory information that authorizes the collection of data can be found in Section 1001 of Title 10 of the Public Health Service Act, 42 United States Code 300. We also have state statutory authority that can be found in the Colorado Revised Statutes of 25-6-103. And the CDPHE Title 10 Family Planning Delegate Agency contracts statement of work contain language about the requirements for collecting and submitting family planning annual report data to the state. Also very important, language regarding HIPAA privacy is embedded within each agency's contract and/or agreement with the state, and according to Title 1045 CFR 164.512, a covered HIPAA entity may disclose protected health information to a health oversight agency for oversight activities authorized by law. So that's just a little general background on what we collect, why we collect it, where the authority lies as far as federal and/or state legal statutes and/or places in which you can go to as a resource to figure out why we collect the data we do, why we submit it the way that we do. And that being said, this ties in very closely to data security. We want to be absolutely certain that we are being good actors in the collection and submission of data. So the next segment is going to talk about data security in iCare. Now, annually, the family planning program will require of each user to agree to the terms of our data security and confidentiality agreement. Now, that happens every October, and access is actually based on you agreeing to all of our security and/or confidentiality requirements. And we're going to dig into those in a little more depth here. The security policy for the CDPHE comes into play in regard to family planning data. Data systems at this site are considered to be the property of the CDPHE, and the CDPHE is a data custodian. That means that when you submit data to the CDPHE, it is considered CDPHE property. Access to CDPHE computer resources is available only for official CDPHE use. You agree not to allow unauthorized persons to use the CDPHE resources and systems. Accessing or attempting to access data files or programs which you are not authorized to use is a security violation. Consult with your CDPHE contact if you need clarification on what you can or cannot use. Security and secure web ID and password is the responsibility of each user. You agree not to share your secure web IDs and passwords. If you are using another person's ID, you are in violation of this policy. The CDPHE does reserve the right to cancel access for any secure web ID. Now, we also have our own individual data security use and confidentiality agreement, and this is the information that will pop up every October, and we'll get to that in just a second. But all users of the family planning data system must submit an electronically signed data security use and confidentiality agreement. This agreement is embedded in the application. It'll automatically pop up for each user, and your continued use of the system is based on if you agree to the security use and confidentiality agreement. The agreement has roughly 15 statements to which each user must agree. Once this agreement is electronically signed, it's submitted to the Health Informatics Section and Family Planning Program at CDPHE for approval. You will be required to renew your access in iCare by signing this agreement on an annual basis, and that occurs every October. Now, this agreement is subject to change depending on any shifts in the program and/or future necessary requirements. But we're going to go through the points of it just to make sure we cover it all. Number one, you're responsible to make every effort to prevent unauthorized users from getting access to or using your user ID and password. 2, you agree to make every reasonable effort to prevent use of a computer for illegal or unethical purposes by all users, authorized or not. 3, you agree not to share your password with any other person or leave it around your computer where it might be easily viewed by another person. 4, you will change your password if you suspect it has been compromised. 5, you agree to access only the information you need to do your job, not to access or attempt to access files you are not authorized to use. You will not browse or otherwise use record information that exceeds what is the minimum necessary to do your job. This means you may not, under any circumstances whatsoever, look up or browse records for any other purpose other than to do the minimum necessary to get your job done. 6, you agree not to discuss confidential information or provide copies of confidential reports, regardless of how or where required, to family members, friends, professional colleagues, other employees, other clients, or any other person unless such a person has been authorized to have access to that information. 7, you will take precautions to protect confidential data displayed in your screen from viewing by others. This may mean repositioning your computer screen, adding a device to limit others' view of your computer screen, turning off the computer when leaving the area, and most definitely enabling password protection screensavers in the event that you do walk away or need to log out to leave for a meeting and or use the restroom or what have you. 8, you understand that records or reports you access may be protected from distribution by copyright or other applicable laws. You will not reproduce, distribute, or display these records or reports without express permission from the CDPHE or other copyright owner. Number 9, CDPHE may revoke your access at any time, with or without cause. 10, any violation of federal, state, local, or the program's confidentiality requirements or this agreement will be considered a breach of your obligations and may result in termination of employment, termination of contractual relationship, and other remedies allowed by law during or after your employment or work with the family planning data system, namely iCare. 11, your access to the data system may be revoked. If your user is dormant for more than 90 days, we do request on a quarterly basis that you submit individuals that no longer have access. In fact, we do ask that you submit the moment you know that you have a client leaving that no longer needs access. If you submit that to the state, we can take care of that immediately and deny access at a moment's notice. Number 12, use and disclosures of information will be consistent with those permitted by HIPAA. And just a reminder in general, this is a shared fate environment. Fellow users and clients may be affected or confidentiality compromised by the activities of other users. So if you see something, say something. If you have a coworker that maybe isn't up to snuff on it, let them know. And you can let us know too. If they need a stern reminder from the CDPHE, we're more than willing to do so. And preventing the misuse of family planning data is a shared responsibility of all users in the data system. So if and when you find that there's something up or even you suspect that something isn't exactly going correctly, please do not hesitate to contact us to look into it. We'll get in touch with the necessary authorities and figure out if and when we have a data security issue. I know all that sounds pretty stern, and there's a reason for that. This is confidential data. The CDPHE, as an entity allowed to collect that data, takes the security of the said family planning data very seriously. We absolutely will uphold all of these confidentiality agreements. And if you have any questions about this, you can contact anybody at the CDPHE, the Family Planning Program. Be more than willing to help you in regard to data security. So that concludes our introduction of the iCare system. Just to review, we went over some system requirements. We went over the purpose and authority for using iCare as a data collection tool. And we also went over the security aspects of iCare. So for now, we're going to roll on to the next video. Thank you all for paying attention. And we will see you in the either data entry or third-party data submission video. Thank you.